Good morning. What you're looking at right now is a finished product of what we're going to be doing, a sunset beach. So today you're just going to get sky and water. So you notice we did no white. It's all primed with yellow. We're going to do sky first, then water. You notice that the light source is in the middle. Okay, so we're not starting on one side or the other and pulling all the way across. We're going to kind of pull towards the middle and leave this kind of middle area very bright. That's where the sun is. Okay, so you guys should have a white sheet of paper in front of you. You should have yellow, you should have red, and maybe just a tiny bit of black. If you want to take a moment, pause, mix yourself up a little bit of orange just to have it. Go ahead and pause and do that. I'm going to kind of get rolling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide where I want my horizon line. I'm just going to say halfway across. You know, Bob Ross talked about if you have still water, you want to keep it pretty level. You know, we don't want some big hill unless we've got a waterfall or some big wave coming in from an ocean. So I'm going to keep it pretty straight across. I'm going to prime my sky yellow. I'm going to keep that left to right. Let me get rid of this here. I'm going to keep that left to right. And, you know, it doesn't have to be as thick as icing on a cake. You guys know that, but, you know, we want it thick enough so we can have other paint glide off of it. Now, you guys will have tape, so you're not going to be chasing around like I am. I may have to turn this lamp off to have these colors show up a little better. It may work a little better there. Alright, just kind of getting our sky primed here. We're going to keep it yellow. Okay. If we went white and then we came in and tried to work some of our yellows and our orange and even our reds, you guys know that red and white will make a pink. Pink is okay, but that's not what we're looking for this particular painting. We're wanting to stick to almost a monochromatic, you know. If you remember, monochromatic means tints and shades of one color. So we're kind of sticking with yellows, yellow oranges, oranges, and reds. Okay, so I've got my sky prime. I want my center to be the light area. So I'm going to kind of double dip with my red and my orange, and I'm going to kind of start pulling it in. I want it to just kind of fade off, and we're going to leave this little area of yellow. We want this oranges and reds to kind of make almost like the St. Louis Arch kind of going over our sky here. So I'm going to take my red, mix up a little bit of orange over here. I forgot to do that. Okay, so I'm going to use my 1/2 inch brush. Use my 1/2 inch brush for everything today. The little brush I gave you will pretty much be just for mixing colors. So I'm left-handed. I'm going to start on the right side, and notice I'm barely pressing. You know, I'm kind of remember we talked about how light to hold that. You know, the harder you hold it, the harder you press, the more it's all just going to blend into one color. We don't want that. We want lots of different oranges and reds. Now, like I said, I want it to kind of fade off in the middle, but I'm going to go all the way across the top. Like I said, we want that kind of that arch. We want this stuff to kind of feel like a halo of oranges and reds and whatnot kind of going over that. I got lots of things going on in the hallway here. You can hear that. Typical morning at MJHS. Alright, so I'm starting to get my oranges. I'm leaving that area alone. So, you know, think of this like we talked about with value at the beginning of the year. If you had a light bulb in the middle of the room, it's going to be really bright, and then the farther you go out, it's going to get darker and darker. Finally, the edges of the room are going to be black, you know, if you've got a light bulb in a dark room. Same way here. Yellow, orange, and we're going to work out to red. So sometimes if you want to make an area lighter, you just come back in and darken it around the edges, and that's going to kind of even make those yellows feel even brighter than they were when we started. So I'm just kind of working in my reds. Notice I'm not brushing it all the way in. I'm just kind of working along the edges here, except for the top. I'll work pretty much all the way across the top. So now we've kind of got this thing going. All right, so if I was you, before we go to the water, I would make sure, don't rinse your brush out, but I would wipe it off really good. Now what's going to happen is when we go to prime or water yellow, it's probably going to end up a little bit more orange because you got some red in your brush. That's all right, not a big deal. You know, maybe our water is just going to be a little bit darker. That's not a big deal. Nobody said the water and the sky had to be exactly the same. So you notice mine's already getting a little bit of an orange, yellow-orange feel. That's all right. We'll make it work. We've said in art, sometimes if we don't like it, You just make it work. Or if you don't like it, let it dry, paint over it. It's the beautiful thing about paint. Alright. So I'm getting my water set in. So essentially, my water is going to be the same thing but a mirror image. So instead of going this way, now I'm going to go this way like a letter U. So it's going to be kind of like a big circle of oranges and reds circling around our bright spot in the middle. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to start out with my yellows and my oranges, and I'm going to work on the sides and all the way across the bottom. Like I said, mirror image. It's going to be opposite. So when this is all said and done today, somebody should be able to pick up your painting and turn it, flip it the other way, and either side would be able to work as your sky and your water, if that makes sense. We should be able to flip it and kind of get the same effect. Now I'm kind of brushing some more oranges here, then I'm going to work my reds in. Okay, so like I said, we're going this way. This way. All right. So start working in those reds a little bit. Okay, so I like sometimes I'm just barely brushing that in, guys. Just kind of, the lighter your touch, the better off you're going to be. It's kind of like value. You can always go in and add more, but man, with paint especially, if I get too much, you're not taking it out. I mean, you can let it dry and paint over it, but you're still going to have a lot of paint there. So to kind of finish out, what I like to do is I'll kind of just touch a little bit of black in on my edges. I don't want to get any black in here on around my yellow, because if you guys remember, black and yellow make a green. Green's okay, but that's not the color we're looking for on this particular painting. Now, in my mind, I would think the farther away we go this way, the darker it's going to get. So I would think my corners would be my darkest spot. So I'm just going to kind of just brush in just a little bit there to really kind of darken up those corners. To kind of get that, I think I had a little too much there, but a little bit of dark feeling there. And like I said, what's a way to make our center brighter? Well, just darken our edges a little bit. Okay, so as you see, still can see our horizon line. We've got our middle bright. It's kind of getting darker and darker as we go out to the corners. Okay, I'll turn a light on that for a second, see how that shows up. Woo! Sure did brighten it up. Let's see what it looks like. Change it to that light, even brighter. So you can see I've got a lot of paint on this guy. Switch it up to that for just a second. I'm going to leave it there for you guys to kind of see the finished product. When you come in tomorrow, we'll get you going on the second half. Good luck.